Into it. Hey guys, it's Alan Kotler here with another Conversion Icon speaker. I'm really excited to be able to introduce you to RJ. RJ and I are part of Kim Dang's Chrome Boss class, and he's been able to show me how to book more interviews, get on more podcasts, build out my influence as a speaker. And I'm really excited to introduce him to you guys today so that way you can do the same. So, welcome to the show, RJ. How are you doing?
Hey Alan, thank you so much. I'm pretty great. What about you?
Doing awesome. I'm excited to have you on the call today because I would love for you to explain a little bit of your journey as an entrepreneur and a digital marketer because I know that you have learned what are the secret sauce and techniques to be able to start making money online, build influence, get networked with top people in the space, and be able to build a massive list. So, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started on this journey of digital marketing?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Saudi Arabia. So I lived over there for like probably around 18 years or so. So mostly people who are living in the Middle East out there, they have different sort of mindset out there because they're immigrants. They love their 9 to 5 job, and they have different sort of mentality out there. So like even though I was young, I'm still young, but I was like a little bit more younger out there. I was teaching tuition with my mother, like making around $100 a month. But as a kid, you spend money on liabilities, not assets. So like spending money on mobile, on PlayStation, and these type of things out there. So I was spending money, so I wasn't investing it any good place. So in 2017, we moved into Pakistan, and it was like completely freaking new place, new people, new environment. I felt like I landed on Mars. Didn't knew what's happening right here. So after that, around in 2018, I finished my college, and then I didn't got myself into the admission into university. Now, if you're living in an Asian country out there, you better know what happened if you don't get yourself admission, because your cousins got admission in university, you haven't got into it, and you're like a lot of things happening, and there's a lot of mess start to create. So I was like, I wasn't doing anything out there, so I was particularly free for like 6 months. So I was like completely unchill, nothing was like that. So how I got into entrepreneurship, or how I started to get into this internet marketing space, was I was scrolling through Facebook, how like other people do. So I saw the ad of Shopify where it shows that you can make money with Shopify or so. I knew what Shopify was for specifically for e-com or so, but I wasn't into it that much. I was like, okay. But this time when I saw the ad, I was like, okay, let me do the research. Let's see what Shopify is in detail, and I'm gonna start working on the stuff out there. So started to watch tutorials out there on YouTube. Mostly saw Sebastian Gomez because he was from Costa Rica, also as a non-US. So I was able to relate a lot more because people who were living in the US didn't had that much of a problem out there for people who live outside of US. So that's a lot of difference out there for the people who could relate literally. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on ecom. That's the thing out there that I'm gonna do. So I started to start using my trial, my free 14 days trial out there, and I was creating my store. I was freaking excited. I saw these gurus out there with their Lambos. They made 6 figures a day, 6 figures a week, 7 figures. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it. So I was working, and then suddenly I got stopped. I was like, okay, how I'm gonna get paid? Because we as an entrepreneur, like whatever we are doing, we are supposed to get paid out there, our services, our time, or whatever the thing is. So we don't have PayPal, we don't have Stripe, we don't have any sort of payment gateway out here. It's like none of them. And I was like, how I can get paid? Because ultimately for us, it's a little bit harder, but it's not impossible to get it done. There's always a way to figure it out because you're not in blacklist countries. It's not like you literally stuck and you have no options. So again, I watched Sebastian's video, and he talked about how to create Stripe for non-US citizen if you're not from US. So he talked the matter out there like forming LLC, get the EIN number, and so. So I was like, okay, the only money I had, and that was my saving money, was 126 buck, and the cost of forming the LLC out there at that time was $126. I was like, okay, so if I'm gonna put in the money, I'm gonna be on zero. But the only thing, and for the people who are young, I suggest use your own money. Never take the money from your parents. Open disclaimer. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna have super high pressure, and it's going to be like you never be able to focus on your work,
Yeah.
especially in the initial phase, because you have pressure. If you're putting up your own money, that was your own money. If it goes on zero, it's fine, because that was your own money out there, because no one is going to talk about your stuff. If you're using someone else's money in the initial start, especially from your parents, it's completely different. So at that point, when I got to know, okay, I invested my money, I was like, okay, now I'm on zero. I need to do something about it right now. Now I need to make things work. So I found the LC. I got myself the AIN number. I got myself finally the Stripe account. I was working on my Shopify store out there right now. And I was like, there are a lot of other expenses out there as well. But right now I'm on zero. Right now, this is it. I don't have funds. So what I did was I did a post on Instagram that, hey, is anybody willing to invest in my stuff, what I'm trying to do online? So there were some of my students, like because I was teaching tuitions, so there were some of my students out there and also were my friends. So they reached out to me and I told them, hey, I'm doing this online business. You're going to make a lot of money. This is this. So they gave me $200 in exchange of 20%, the 20 to 30% equity. So they took the equity of the company, whatever the profit or loss is, and they paid me $200. I'm
Mm.
like, okay, now I have the money and now I'm going to see what things work. Because for me, it was a lot of money at that point as a kid, like as a person who is 18 years old. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of money, especially being in Pakistan where currency difference is a lot of things. A dollar is 160 rupees. No matter where the currency goes right now, Bitcoin goes high or low, the currency is still high for Pakistan.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So at that point, when I decided, okay, I got funds, it was Black Friday in 2018 when I launched my store. I know about it. That's the biggest day for e-commerce stuff. I knew that many people who were making six figures a day, because that's the biggest night of the year. Black Friday and Cyber Monday out there. These are like two biggest nights. I was like, if they're making six figures a day, I'm gonna make six figures a week. It's gonna happen, because issue is that is how the gurus portray us to be, that it's that easy. It's never been that easy. It's like there are so many things need to happen in order to make things work. If anyone is gonna go in and talk about that, hey, you just get it done and it just happened, it never just happened. There's a lot of process. No one see the failures, no one see the time frame that they've spent. When there was a person who was doing nothing, that person was like hustling right away. So it's not like just thing, never happened. So I launched my store, nothing. Freaking the ad wasn't working. Spent $15, no sales, wrong targeting, wrong copy, wrong freaking everything. And I'm like, why I'm not making any money? Like, what's going on? The best part is I still have that video ad that I've used on the very first time that I had it. And that was pretty crazy. So that ad didn't work for me. I was like, damn, this is crazy. I have just $200. I've already spent like $15 out there. I don't have enough funds to like just because like for e-commerce, beginners think e-commerce is easy, but it's not. I don't know why it happens that they feel like it's easy. Otherwise, there's a lot of things in terms of like affiliate marketing, because you have fulfillment, you have cost of advertisement, and you need to do testing first. Nothing works out like directly out there. There's a lot of things, a lot of fulfillments as well, even
Yeah.
though if you get the money. People have some sort of misconception on that stuff. So I wasn't making any money out there by selling an unknown person. Like no one bought from my store online. I was just drop shipping to my friends, to my relatives, but I don't consider it as an online income, because that's not relatively an online income. The online income is something if you're selling to an unknown person that you simply don't know,
Yeah,
not to your friend.
absolutely.
It's never gonna be like that if you're selling to your friend out there in your home, or like I was like, it's not gonna happen. So lot of the times that the marketer was talking about the concept of funnels, like, hey, use funnels. I was like, what the hell is a funnel? Like, what the hell is a funnel? Is it something used for filling up water tanks, or like oil tanks or so? Because I just didn't knew what the funnel is, what's a sales funnel is. So I saw the post on Instagram where it was like, this guy have made like $3 million in 90 minutes. His name is Russell Brunson, founder of ClickFunnels. I was like, he is the only guy I can go in and relate with funnels right now, because I don't know anything. So I started to do more of research on Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels or so. And finally, I jumped on ClickFunnels for with Paul Motley's affiliate. He's ClickFunnels Dream Car winner right now. He's a freaking awesome guy. And frankly, he was the very first guy I jumped on a call who had native English, because English is not our first language. So for me, when I got in a call with him, funny enough, when I was talking with him, for us, the biggest problem is our English run in our mind. We're never able to speak it. We don't have the confidence. And that's the biggest thing what happens with most of the people out there who are living in Asian countries. They have the English running in their freaking mind, but they just don't know that, hey, we're going to speak. And you're only going to speak when you're going to speak, no matter how it is. I'm not saying my English is perfect right now, but at least people can understand it. It's fine, nothing matters. It never came into the way out there that someone said, hey, your English is not good and we're not going to work with you, or you're not going to interview us, or something like that. It never happened. No one really cares. So, ClickFunnels is $97 a month. It's 16,000 rupees, which is enough for me to pay my hostel dues. Because when I started ClickFunnels in January 2019, I got myself finally the admission in the university itself. So I found myself how much my expenses are in my hostel. So I was like, damn, ClickFunnels is 97 bucks a month. It's almost the exact same price I'd pay in hostel whole expenses. So what happened was my trial was about to end. So there was ClickFunnels support guy, Nico. So he got in a call and I was like, hey man, I don't know. ClickFunnels is too much for me. I don't know. I can pay for it. He extended my trial. He extended my trial for like 2 months. And I'm so glad I'm still connected with him after like 2 years or so. Because like, I was like, I'm so grateful for him, but still he like extended the trial, at least for me. But my intention for joining ClickFunnels was as an affiliate marketer to promote products. Not like I don't have my own product. I wanted to promote ClickFunnels as an affiliate. But still within those 2 months, I made $0. I was like, how in the hell these people are getting orange bars as a commission and I'm not getting it? Is this freaking real? Or like, are they doing the Photoshop sort of stuff out there? Like, is this real? Is they really making money? Or like, is this like, that's it? Or this is a scam? Like, what the hell is it? So in March, like, so even though I had 2 months of ClickFunnels, it was like I made $0. Then I downgraded myself to ClickFunnels Pause plan because I just don't want to leave that ClickFunnels account because that person have spent so much energy on me for 2 months. For what purpose? I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in and pay for it, but when I'm gonna be ready, I'm not gonna cancel it. So on March 9th, 2019, there was a guy, he needed a Facebook ads course. And I was consuming a lot of Sebastian's content. So I had one of his courses out there that he told to provide access as a bonus. So I was like, hey man, have a bonus. If you want it, let me know. I was desperate. I was in hostel and he reached out to me. I got in a call with him. I told him, hey, if you want this a course, which is 500 bucks, get it for free when you sign up for one funnel away challenge. And he was like, that's a good deal. And I was like, yeah, if you want it, let me know. And he was like, cool, send me the link. I sent him the link out there. So he took the time for like 2 to 3 minutes. Until that time, my roommates were like, Ahmed, you're taking a lot of time. You're in hostel and you're disturbing a lot of students because it's a hostel. We have roommates out there. They're getting disturbing out there right away just because of me, because I was attending a call in my place. And once I got the sale, I'm like, guys, just leave every freaking thing out there. I literally don't care about you guys. I've made 100 bucks in a day. Okay. That is what we spend in our whole month. I've made in a day out there. Can you freaking believe it? Like, I was like mind blown that this freaking thing works. I have that orange bar. So that was the light bulb for me in the initial start, the aha moment that, hey, if I can make 100 bucks, I can make $200, I can make $500 or even more. So the second stage, how people react is, and that is the biggest thing. I saw Kevin Steven, he made $10,000 at that time. So he sold 101 funnel away challenge. And I'm like, damn, I've sold one and you've sold 101 funnel away challenge. How that happens, So oftentimes how people go in and react is they start to compare their chapters out there to someone else's chapters. They don't even know about what's happening in their current situation out there. And that's the biggest mistake. They start to compare those things out there and they slow their growth. So I was like, okay, if that's, and there's two ways. Most people take it as destructive. For me, it was constructive. I was like, if that person can do it, I can do it as well. It's completely realistic. He's a human.
Yeah, that's so important to realize, because a lot of people don't understand that these guys have been doing it for several years, right? But
Yeah.
they all started at the same place, right? They all started with no knowledge of marketing, right?
Yeah.
None of us are born with this automatically. It's taken years and years and years for me personally to win the Two Comma Club Award. Like it didn't just happen overnight, right?
Yeah.
It was 3 years for me from the time I got certified in ClickFunnels to the time that I actually won the award. So every success, every course, everything that you do, every call, every interview, every conversation is adding to your skill level. So when you see these guys doing $1 million launches and all these big numbers, you got to realize it took a lot of relationships to get there. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. And every day that you work on your dream, you're getting closer to that. And to realize that it is inspirational
Yeah.
and that it is possible, that anybody can do it no matter where they are in the internet or in the world, if they're willing to put in the time and the effort and run this like a successful business, not like a part time, not like a hobby, but actually put it in, like you said, you invested the majority of your money, almost all your
Yeah.
money. Same thing for me when I was going to community college on the way to university, I had to make a choice. I asked my college professor, who was teaching business. I asked him, "Did you ever run a business?" I thought it was a good question. And he said, "Yeah, I did, but the business went bankrupt. So I decided to come back to community college and teach." And I asked myself, why am I learning from somebody who doesn't have a successful business? And that's where I
Yeah.
invested the last $3,000 I had into Dan Kennedy's info marketing blueprint. And the information I learned from that set me in a whole different trajectory. So for people that are listening that are saying, well, I don't know if I can afford to buy a course, or I don't know if I can be part of a mastermind. Truthfully, that's where the real knowledge is in. It's not in the
Yeah.
free YouTube videos. It's not in the free courses. Really, what you're paying for is for people's years and years of experience and knowledge compressed into a teachable format that you could easily apply. So if somebody would say, "Hey, RJ, I can show you how to save yourself 10 years of headache and misery of doing the wrong thing and having to figure it out yourself for a couple $1,000s." I know for me personally, that's a deal because my time is worth a lot. And that sounds like
Yeah.
sort of the same experience that you went through.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that is one of the most important thing out there that people just need to understand, because they need to have constructive sort of mindset out there that what they're supposed to do in order to, figure those things out there. Because like, as you said, and that's the exact same thing. People start to compare themselves with the people out there. Like when you talk about campaigns, the people have done freaking huge launches. They've already worked out, literally for everything. They have spent their time what they're supposed to do, what they're supposed to learn in order to make that thing happen. It's not like people start to react like how they're doing, how it's magic happening, like how their launch is like so good, like it's so powerful, so nice in the community, in the space. They start to think about that stuff, which is pretty crazy. So like when I went into stuff, when I made my first $100 in the exact same month, I made like I sold like three one funnel away challenge, made my first $300, and I was like, okay, I have made like 50,000 rupees. That's a good salary over here. That's a good income over here for people who makes 50,000 rupees. That's an average good income for people who make a high end income. A good income is 1 lakh rupees, which is $600. Okay, and a good income is around 1,200 to $1,500. Mostly people in Pakistan never think about more than that, and that's why they never be able to make them that out there. And that's their mindset and how they stop themselves. For me personally, that was the exact same thing that I had, like unless I have made my first sale. When I made my first sale, it already broken. I was like, I can do that, literally. So within 3 months, I made my first $1,000, and I was like, now I'm getting it. What value I need to provide and how I need to provide it, and just to make sure that everything should start to work in a correct place. And within the next 2 months, I made my first $10,000, and then everything started to work much better way.
So let's talk about the first sale,
Yeah.
right? That first sale is like your first kiss on a date, right? It is
Yeah.
something that you remember forever. So, how did you feel when that happened and you finally saw the transaction go through?
Actually, for me, it was like life changing because always say to every single person out there, your first sale matters literally the most. That is the only thing that's gonna pump you up or it's gonna boost you up. Because if, for example, if you're working, you know that you're working for something, and once you realize that something have already came up and you've already reached your level one, you've realized okay, you are going right. For me that was the thing because I started in October. I got my first sale in March. So it's like I spent 6 months without making any money and I've invested everything up front. So I wasn't profitable at all. So for me, that was a huge thing because I was using my money and I was using someone else's money as well. Even though they never had a pressure on me because they just don't wanted to. They was like, okay, if we get into loss, it's completely up to us or it's our destiny. It's completely fine. But if we got into profit, it's okay. So I didn't have sort of pressure. But for me, it was huge because I just don't want to have typical 9 to 5, get my end my finish university degree over there and think about getting a job, which I know that I'm not gonna get over here, especially because their unemployment is freaking high. So that first sale was the boost. Literally, for me, it was like, damn, this works. I can do it, and I can move on and start working on the stuff out there. And for me, it's like I started using ClickFunnels in January 2019. It's January 2021, so it's my third year into ClickFunnels. You know, and I'm still into the business out there. Many people came and go, and I'm still into it just because I knew what I'm supposed to do in order to stay right
Yeah,
now. So that's how my first sale was like game changer for me.
absolutely. So once you got that first sale, you've been working on building your mindset, right? So oftentimes people, they're like, why didn't I make a sale in the first 14 days? But what they don't understand is that you're building a business, right? Even if you would start a retail establishment, how long does it take for you to get the loan, to get the inventory, to set
Yeah.
up the store, to market the store? Most people don't understand that restaurants and retail locations don't make money to the third to the fourth year, if that. They don't understand that 60% of businesses fail within the first 3 years. So, this is your opportunity to build a digital business, something that has low overhead, has minimal costs, but high revenue potential. And what's awesome about it is you can do it from anywhere. No matter how good your English is or how well you can speak, this is something that can be a useful opportunity for you to set up a extra stream of income and eventually take it full time, which you've been able to do. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm really fascinated about that you're doing consistently, which is your Dream 100. So for people
Yeah.
that aren't aware of it, can you explain what the Dream 100 is and how you've been able to use this to grow your digital business and actually help you generate sales and traffic to your websites?
Yeah, so if people don't know about what Dream 100 is, Dream 100 is basically a concept of how you create a relationship. Like people talk about it for 100 people out there, but it could be any amount of numbers. How you create a relationship with the people who already have your audiences out there, have you already have your existing customers. So you create relationship in such a way. So ultimately they promote your products. That's what Dream 100 is all about. For me particularly, I was in Chromebus. You were also a part of Chromebus as well, which is pretty awesome. So I was in Chromebus out there, and I was in the process of having my launch of my software. So I was working my way in into different sort of interviews or so. I was reaching out to different people out there who was almost the exact same level that I was, but I realized I can go in and do something out there because I was taking some interviews, but there wasn't a show. It was like some generic interviews out there. There was interviewing guests, but it wasn't a show out there. So I was like, how about if I can go in and I can start working on a show where I can get a lot of guests out there that are my Dream 100 because I have already done one funnel away challenge, so I knew what Dream 100 was. And I knew one thing, it's not gonna be instant. It's gonna be that I need to spend my time nurture my Dream 100 in order to make it work. One thing was I was providing consistent values through one of my like few of my Dream 100 out there. When on the point of Traffic Secrets launch came up, Steve Larson was promoting, and I literally leveraged the Traffic Secrets launch a lot because Traffic Secrets was mostly about Dream 100. There was a lot of concept about Dream 100 in Traffic Secrets book as well. So all of those people who was promoting the book, the high-end influencers who were also in my Dream 100 were promoting Traffic Secrets. I was like, hey, I'm gonna leverage it. So the first thing what I've done was is to get more motivation, because people never ask, and if you don't ask, you will never get it. So what I did was I reached out to Steve. Hey, Steve, I really admire you a lot. I know you're promoting Traffic Secrets book. How about if I give you the access of my software? If anyone buy from your if anyone buy Traffic Secret from you, I'm gonna give the access of my software to them. He was like, awesome. He didn't say yes or no. He said awesome. Within an hour or so, I was scrolling through his Instagram stories, and I saw, I think so, something is familiar over there. Oh my god, like he have my freaking software out there. Like what the hell he have my freaking software doing? I don't know what he was doing. He was probably testing it out, open the funnel, whatever he was doing. But I saw that. I was like, damn, like what's happening over there? I don't care if he let his audience promote that or not. He haven't done that, but he had opened that, and I can literally go in and leverage that exact same thing out there in front of my audiences. That hey, can you see that Steve Larson had my software out there on his tab? Could you see? Like he even think about it, that's a huge thing. So that was the first initial breakthrough that got me into the thing that hey, I can reach out to more and more people out there, and I can do it. People don't have the ability to ask these. They think about they're like giants of the internet marketing space. They're like, I don't know what they are, and they never try to reach out to them. If you reach out like a human, they're gonna respond to you like human. And that's the biggest thing. If you're treating them like what they are, I don't know, but that's not who they are. Most of them are not like how people think they are. So my very first official guest on my show was Spencer. But for Spencer out there, like when I started, I knew who Spencer was because he was like top ClickFunnels affiliate. So I was like, I spent a lot of time as a fan, watches his content and like following him a long time. So it was Funnel Hacking Live last year, and I reached out to him. Hey Spencer, you know, I would love to interview you on my show. Let me know about it. He was like, it's Funnel Hacking Live. We can talk about it later on. When it came to Traffic Secrets, I told you I literally leveraged Traffic Secrets a lot. When it came to Traffic Secrets, he was providing his bonuses, and I was like, Spencer, I would love to get 30 minutes of your time. I'm gonna buy a trilogy box set from your link. I know it's not gonna affect you anything because you're a freaking six-figure affiliate marketer, but still, I'm gonna buy it from you. He reached out to me. He was like, "Hey man, I owe you the interview. It's not needed to you to buy the book or something like that. Send me your calendar. I'm gonna book you up." He booked up. He jumped on the interview, but I was like, "I'm a man of my words. I'm gonna buy the trilogy box set under your link." So I went in. I bought it. It was my way at least to open the relation with him. That is how I got Spencer in the first place. Because understand one thing, when you're trying to leverage your Dream 100, there are multiple ways. If you're getting interviewing them on your show, you're creating your authority, you're creating your presence, you're positioning yourself as an expert out there. You're doing affiliate marketing because you're promoting their product in your comment section out there. And when you're repurposing content, you're promoting, and then you're also creating the relation. Because I believe, and it's not just believe, it happened, and it happened. I have done 38 interviews so far with 38 6 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs. The interviews, after you do the rest of the process, interviews are the very best ways to create the relation with your Dream 100, because they have your attention. And the second thing is, if you know how to take the structure of the interview, believe it or not, they're gonna love it, and they're gonna be there. Oh my god, like I literally love your show. Something like that is gonna happen, and it happens because they have done hundreds of shows. For them to be on your show, it's gonna be say, yeah, it's fine. We're gonna be on your show, but for them to be like, man, that was awesome. That was the comments that I received from guys like Steve, Shakir Hussain, Bailey Richard, Blake Newbar, and like these type of people out there. Man, your show was amazing. Like we literally loved it. Catherine Jones, I got a personalized voice note from Catherine that, hey, I love to be on your show. Can you tell me your advice? This. So these are the things how you go in and open the relation with your Dream 100 out there. Because once you interviewed them, and a good interview, you've created an open loop for you to contact them at any time you want, at least to have a little bit friendly based conversation, not pitching them anything. And it's like, then you start to nurture your Dream 100 and see what's happening in their world, just to make sure that you know what's happening. For example, if you have something you are supposed to promote and now you think that it's a perfect time for you to ask to them. Just see what's happening in their world first before you ask to that person. When you realize, because everyone have a different life cycle, everyone is going to be focusing on a different thing. Who knows that you just go in and start to disrupt other person's launch? If you're asking that person, just see what's happening in their life, and you can ask if there is a way for them to do this for you. If it is not, wait for them. They can do it later. But apart from that, just have try to focus. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
ways that I had went in and start to leverage Dream 100 in such a way.
So awesome. So first step of Dream 100, make a list of
Yeah,
the top people that you want, right?
100%.
What I actually been doing, which has been awesome, is I've been using pipeline deals. So what I do is I make a list of my Dream 100. I make them each individual contacts in my CRM system, right? And then I put their Facebook URL in there, their Instagram URL within the contact, so I can easily navigate to them. I add
Yeah,
notes of anytime I message them, anytime I've worked on pitching them. So I have one column for Dream 100. Then I have one column for research, right? So this means I'm researching them, I'm taking a look at their profile, I'm getting to know what they're doing, and I'm actually understanding a little bit more about them as a person. Then after research, I have not pitched, which means I haven't actually started a conversation with them. I am just getting to know them a little bit more. And then I have a column that says pitched. So these are people that I've actually messaged, I've actually pitched to come on the show. And then I have another column that says scheduled. And then I have another column that says booked, and another column that says interviewed, and another column that says marketed. So that way, what I've been doing is I've been moving all of my contacts from Dream 100 further along the process. And what I can show you here on the screen for you guys that are part of the premium, what we can do is we can see over here in the scheduling and opportunities, when I have a specific calendar in my Go High Level account, you can see here underneath the specific um, projects. So like here is my conversion icon podcasting. And what we can show you guys here is all of the people underneath my Dream 100, all the people in not pitched, all the people in pitched, and all the people in scheduling, booked, marketing, and post interview. So what this has really helped me do is visually see who is in my current friends list. So what I did is I took a look at all of the people I've been sending messages to on my
yeah,
messenger, and I've been going through and adding them as a contact here on the board. So
absolutely.
I'll be such in your case, I was chatting with you before and I'm like, okay, RJ, then I would put it as an opportunity. I'll make you a lead. I'll set you as a stage as not pitched because I already know you. And then once I actually talked to you and moved you down the specific process, what I did is simply just move this to now pitched.
Yeah,
Now I know I talked to you, I pitched you, I sent you a message, hey, I would love you to come on the show, but you haven't actually scheduled a time yet. So what I've done now is once you do schedule a time, I've made it so that way in my triggers, that it actually adds you to the specific campaign. So if you actually book a time on the link that I send you that's specifically for speakers, it adds a tag and adds you to the booked call campaign for specifically speakers. So what this does is really help my outreach. So that way, one, it assigns it to me as a person. It tells me in the notes that you scheduled a time at a specific time in the calendar. And then what it does is it also adds the opportunity here to put you on the booked calendar.
yeah,
So, what's awesome about this is when you start systematically thinking about this, you can make specific calendars based off of your interviews that are coming up. And what you can easily do is send people a direct calendar link for the specific walkthrough. So what I do is I send them this link and I say, hey, I would love to have you on my show. Go ahead and grab a time that's convenient for you, and we'll be able to talk further about it. And I would love to have you as one of the individuals on the show. So, what this does is it shows my calendar availability so we don't go back and forth and say, oh, how's this day? How's that day? They can simply choose a time. Once they choose a time, then they fill out their information. The information already goes in my CRM. And one of the things that I actually learned from you is to ask them to do an interview swap. And an
Yeah.
interview swap means that I interview you and then you interview me. So this means not only do I get exposure on your audience, but you get exposure on mine. So I added this as one of the form fields for the booking calendar of when people actually choose a time on my calendar to be a speaker. So this has actually really, really helped for me to actually get exposure to their audience as well. So once this is all done, then they go into my CRM system. They have a tag as speaker. I have also added automation to send them email with the Zoom link. I've also set up automation to send them a text message 1 hour before and 15 minutes before the call that actually has all the information, and they could respond back if they need to be able to change or reschedule to actually help make sure that people show up on time and that they have all of the information possible. So hope that little insight of what I'm doing in my calendar booking process to get people to be able to book and have it systematically within the Dream 100, and also move them along the process of their pipeline funnel so that way I can visually see where people are at and update it as we go on. So hope that helped for the VIP members. That was some bonus content that we threw in there, and hope you like to see the inner workings of actually what it takes to effectively book and how to systematically build systems to not only remind you but your speakers about the upcoming appointment, and how to make it as smooth as possible for people that you have on your show.
100%, absolutely. And that's the thing out there. The first step is always gonna be creating your list out there. So you need to have a clear idea on what stuff with which individual you are right now. Okay, and it's not need to be 100 people. It could be 10. It could be 5. Steve Larson had just Russell Brunson in his Dream 100 list when he started out, and it's okay to have one person out there to be in the Dream 100 list. It's completely fine with that stuff.
Absolutely. And the best thing about it is that you just have to start.
Yeah.
You start with one, right? Your email list starts with one person, right? And the best thing about it is you grow, you get better. It's just like being an athlete. You actually over time become better and better and better. And when we're looking at these people that are experts, you got to realize that they had rough interviews, they had rough days, and we all have blood in our body, and we all have to go through this process to actually become better individuals. So tell us a little bit more of your advanced strategy. So once you actually have them on, are you scripting the questions ahead of time? Are you finding things about them before? Are you asking for interview questions? What's sort of your process once you find somebody who's on your Dream 100?
Yeah. So when it comes to, like, for example, when I reached out to them and I finally booked them up on the show, I have a framework. I call it in the interview seekers. Okay. And how it works is I have like almost like 7 to 8 steps. It's like reaching out to your Dream 100, book them up, create your marketing noise, do the follow up, setting up for the interview, do the actual interview. Okay. And then also after doing the actual interview out there, do the repurposing of the content. You know, when I specifically, and these are the steps when we specifically talk about the time when we do the interview, I have never gave any of my Dream 100 the questions. Never. I don't want it to be scripted. I have done many podcasts where they had sent me the question. For me, it's fine. It's okay. But if something if someone can go in and do their own research in advance rather than they send me the question. Some people probably going to have insecurities out there that it's live, anyone can ask any sort of question, but for you to even go for without unscripted based questions, you need to build relationships so no one can have that sort of fear that, hey, send me over the questions. It never happened, within 37 interviews, it didn't happen out there. And probably mostly like 99.99% of the interviews that I've done out of those was like these high-end entrepreneurs. These were like high influencers. One or two gonna be some of six-figure people out there, mostly are 7 and 8 figure people. No one had asked it. So how I work with interviews is one thing and this is structure. And whenever I jump on a call, I let them know that, hey, my agenda for you for the interview is I'm going to talk about how you started, where you are right now, and between the stuff between all of that thing. So we're going to talk about how you started, where you are right now, and what happened between all of those things. So this is, and I let them know the clear picture, how I'm going to ask questions. Second thing is how I can go in and ask those things out there. I do my freaking research. So for me to do the freaking research out there, if they're my dream 100, it means that I better know something about it. It's going to be something that I was in the part of the stuff. Like it's my 30 in ClickFunnels space. I literally know every single person's story, how they got started, where they are right now, what they're working on right now, like literally every freaking thing. It's like because I have my focus on those things out there. So what I started to do was I started to do the research and I wanted to make sure I saw these are the biggest mistake that people make. They ask generic questions. You have an opportunity to get a 7 8 figure entrepreneurs, and it's a code to get better answers. You need to ask better questions. You have a
Yeah.
person and you're talking about what is the best book you read, what advice you want to give to your 20-year-old. Can you imagine, like, these type of questions out there are completely normal for them. They always receive these type of generic questions should be in such a way where you talk about them and their stuff out there and something that should be related to them, and for just making sure that you're not you know overlapping the questions. Just make sure, just listen 1 to 2 podcasts, you get yourself an idea how which type of questions mostly people ask.
Yeah.
You will get yourself clear idea. And like out of the interviews that I've done, the only time I never write questions, never. The only thing that I do is my own research. In the initial start, I have done that in the first 2 interviews, but after that, I had left it. The only time I wrote all of those questions when I interviewed Steve Larson, because I was like, man, I have watched One Funnel Away challenge. I have booked Steve Larson on my show. I just don't know, because for me it was crazy. Like he was next level for me. So I literally wrote my question. I had my question on StreamYard, even though I know what I'm supposed to ask, but I was like, what if I forgot? But apart from that, for every single person, those questions were also the part of the research.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after the interview got done, he was like, man, that was an awesome interview. I was like, damn, Steve Larson loved the interview. It had opened me the loop.
Yeah.
Now I can die in peace. So when we talk about asking questions, it's like just see what they're relating for, what's their business is all about, their struggles and their things about their businesses out there, or their life, or their stuff out there. It happened many times when I asked questions and they're like, wow, no one have ever asked this question from us. And it's a huge thing because they have done a lot of podcasts.
Yeah. So, what are some of those questions that you've asked that actually got really good insight? Because what I like to do here on Conversion Icon is actually get to the meat, right? We
Yeah.
don't like to talk about the fluff. We've all listened to podcasts before, or interviews where it's just the normal stuff. How if you're interviewing people, do you actually get to what's important?
Yeah. So to that, like I told you, for me, it's my agenda. For every show, anyone out there who interview people out there, if they have a podcast, they have an intention of the podcast itself as well. For me, my show name is Interviews with Entrepreneurs. I'm interviewing those entrepreneurs out there, and my motive is to see how they got started, to become and to get to the point where they are right now. Whatever their niche are. For example, we talk about Steve, the best example. I don't want to talk about like specifically for Steve. If I know who his audience is, and I know 99% of funnel space knows Steve Larson, I don't need to ask his backstory. but I can ask something from his backstory itself. That's the very first thing. I'm gonna 100% gonna ask something from his backstory if I'm not asking the whole backstory itself, because that can cover my time. Because for me to ask Steve, I was like, "Hey Steve, like how you got to know about Russell Brunson?" Okay, it's not like, "Hey, how you got started?" Because everyone knew about how he got started with the space. I was like, "How you got to know about Russell Brunson very first time?" Because
Yeah.
you had .com secrets when you were in army, you were reading that. How you got to know about him? So that was the very first thing I asked. Then I had a group regarding affiliate marketing. So I asked affiliate marketing based question that, "Hey Steve, you're promoting affiliate products, but you're not actively promoting ClickFunnels product as an affiliate as well. Like, what do you think about, like, what's the mistake people make?" So I always focus, one of the key questions that I have every single time, but depend on every single person's niche, is mistakes. I don't talk about what you like to say to person 20 years back. What is the books you read? If I want to see the books what people read, I can go in and research on Google. I don't need to ask anyone out there. If I want to see what books Russell Brunson reads, I can go in and Google that. I don't need to ask that at all. So for me, it was like I always talk about mistake for any niche, because all of those people are of different niches.
Mm.
They have made mistakes in their own respective niche. Some have made mistake in virtual summits. Some made mistakes in custom boxes. Some have made mistakes in Dream 100 itself. A lot of people know about Dream 100 and who crushed it, but they had their own specific sort of mistakes. Catherine Jones probably have her own mistake. Marley Jackson have her own mistake. Steve Larson had her own mistake. You know, mistake regarding offers, mistake regarding affiliate marketing. So mistake is something that is a must-have question that I always ask, because they are entrepreneurs and they're
Yeah.
like, they love imperfect action. So there's gonna be some sort of mistakes out there. So
Yeah.
you structure your questions in such a way so where it's not sound generic.
Absolutely. And I think that is what's valuable because, like, you can either learn from two ways, either from experience or from wisdom. Okay.
Yeah,
Experience you have to earn.
yeah,
Wisdom, you have the opportunity to learn from somebody else. So your question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to spend 5 years doing the wrong things in the wrong direction? Or do you want to learn from somebody who has done it, who can teach you how to easily be able to improve what you are currently dealing with? And by asking that question of about what are the biggest mistakes, you're actually identifying what are things that didn't work. So that way you can focus on what did work and
yeah,
learn how they turned it around. Very,
yeah.
very
And one thing
important.
I would like to add on this thing is, and the biggest mistake that hosts make is they never ask these type of questions. Because listen, we have a respect for those people out there. Just, if even if you're asking any question, just have sort of respect. It's not like you're like, you have smile out, the evil smile, and you're asking question, something like that. If you're doing these type of stuff out there, they get to know about your intention, that you're not asking genuinely, you're trying to mock them. These type of things come up straight away. So what happens, most people, they literally have a ton of questions in their mind. They just want to talk, but they don't have the ability to speak and ask those questions, like having the
Mhm.
guts. They
Yeah.
don't do that. I know that when I interviewed Dave and we were talking about framework, I literally asked him, "Have you found your framework yet?" And he was like, "Man, that's a freaking awesome question." But no, I haven't. And then he talked about the stuff. It was counter question. But if I didn't ask that, he probably never answered that stuff. But it was something unique that someone counter questioned him on that particular thing that he haven't achieved yet. You
Yeah.
know, so that is the thing, that you need to ask something, but respectively.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the thing.
So what I guess the question is, what are some mistakes that you have made when interviewing your Dream 100 that you wish you didn't do that you've now learned to do
Yeah.
differently?
So the best part is, in the first 2 or 3 interviews I have done, now when I watched the previous interviews, I was like, damn, Spencer gonna hate me a lot right now. Spencer hated me just because of interview. So the reason is, I was like, when you're asking questions, there comes an awkward silence. Okay. And there is not because you're a host, it's your responsibility to take that guest into the flow. You need to make sure that question after question need to be in such a way there's not an awkward silence between that. That
Hmm.
awkward silence is freaking crazy thing. It's like cricket. And you don't want to make it happen. That's the very first thing. The second thing is, again, just to make sure, do your research. Never ask generic questions. I would never suggest anyone anytime. I've saw many people out there. I don't want to say that like that much, but I've saw many people who've used the style out there, the way I started to do interview. It's not like the way that I deliver, but the way I have structured my interview stuff. And I'm completely okay with that because I love that people have started to use that process out there, and I'm okay. But the point is, even after that, that stuff doesn't make the interview work. It's like what you're delivering, not your video intros, not your video outros are gonna make it work. It's your deliverability, and that's the biggest thing. What you're doing on the interview. So the second thing is and never ask generic question. That's the second thing. Never do that. If you want to do it, you're already down to yourself. Don't do that. And the third thing, which is super important, is consider the importance of that person that you have on your show. And once you have that, also have the importance of the time of that person as well.
Yeah.
Because if you have that person and you're just watching that person out there and you freaking don't have your eye on the clock itself that you're exceeding the time, that person is not in the state where he can say, hey man, can you stop it now? But in his heart, he's like, I'm gonna see you. I'm never gonna get back to you. Something like that gonna happen. So always respect the time of your person out there. And I would like to add fourth thing is, and that's the last fourth thing. Be sure you are the only guy who are supposed to do the follow up for get them on your show. Probably it's gonna be 4 follow-ups, 5 follow-ups, 6 follow-ups. Even if they say yes, they booked up, something gonna happen, something messed up. It's your ability to do the constructive follow-up will allow them to do and get on the show. If you're like, hey, I have booked you up and you haven't jumped on the show, who cares? Why he need to be jumping on your show? Like why? Like is he gonna make money jumping on your show? Hell no.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're doing constructive follow-up, they're gonna feel like that they want to, that they're supposed to be on your show. Something like that gonna happen. So these are the 4 things that I would like to say avoid.
Yeah.
Okay. These are the 4 main things out there.
So other question I had for you is how long should an interview last? Right. So some podcasts I see are very short. Are those podcasts edited so that way they only have the most powerful segments, or should they be an hour? What how do you recommend approaching this?
Yeah, so a lot of people, and it differs by person to person. For me, it was like I want, especially like for me, I want my excitement and my D100 excitement to be natural. It shouldn't be like, and now and later I can go in and repurpose the content out there. I want everything to be natural out there, so they not need to be anything edited, so they can go in and they have real reality. People are watching them raw, which is super awesome thing because they probably never saw them so closer, because they probably saw those people out there in some other people's guest as a guest out there. But when you are part of someone else's group that you're closer and attracted to, and you saw that that person is coming on their show, something like that, you feel like connected. So you want them to be live, so in terms of time duration, sometimes you already know at what scale that person is, and then that, hey, just don't go and exceed more than like 30 minutes or 35 minutes or so. For some people, when you're getting into the flow, you start to realize those people are hyperactive. They have dedicated your time to get into the stuff only for you. So mostly the interview I've done with like 7-figure entrepreneurs are between 30 minutes, mostly in 30 minutes. The people I've interviewed like 6 figures had exceeded like even 50 minutes as well. Why? Because I know they have more time, and they're like one level ahead of me. So I can have more interactions with them, and I can talk a lot more, so they can be my literal friends in fast way. And it happened. I don't know about you, if you know about the Biz Bros. They have their podcast like Content for Profit. So they had our episode, like it was the longest episode we have on our show. It was like 55 minutes. And then we became friends, and we were talking about, hey, when there's gonna be the day when we're gonna play FIFA. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the level of friendship we went into stuff, because they love soccer. I love about it. They love like Barcelona, Real Madrid. I love Barcelona. So like, that type of connection became, even though they were making like in 6 figures or so. So that was the thing that I talk about. Understand the importance that you have, and have the identity that, hey, I'm not going to exceed for more than 30 minutes. So structure your question in such a way that you can do it, and also make sure to ask the call to action with that person. Don't be like, ended the interview and you haven't asked that person their call to action, and they're going to be like, why am I was on the show? Like, it happened, okay, it's for exposure, but there wasn't any sort of call to action. Because again, working your way in, have the intention to get people into your funnel, into your offers, into your service, whatever the case is. So that's how it works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your software and your products for people that are listening that would want to know how to get in touch with you and learn a little bit more of how to build out their Dream 100 and become a better interviewer and have people on their show that can build their list and help them get sales.
Yeah, so I have a masterclass called the Dream 100 Masterclass, and where I teach people how to not to learn how to leverage and master the concept of Dream 100 alongside how to use the power of interviews to get those Dream 100 out there and deliver. Not only that, I've also able to manage like to get the former ClickFunnels affiliate manager Ben Harris to do specific training into our masterclass where he showed how ClickFunnels, like literally $100 million a year company, do Dream 100, from getting people like Spencer to get to the guys like Tony Robbins. And and this was one of the crazy things that I've done in this last week. We finally got Dana Derricks to do special, like we interviewed Dana Derricks last week, but he agreed to do a training in our masterclass where we're going to talk about how you need to ethically do Dream 100. So like, the man who's all about Dream 100 is teaching people in our masterclass as an additional thing how you need to go in and do Dream 100 out there. It's freaking epic. So these are the things out there. We have a Dream 100 masterclass where I teach you literally everything you need to know, including the software that you need to use. It's not like I'm selling you something on a backend. I'm literally giving you, hey, you need this, get this as a bonus, have it done, use CRMs, add those leads out there, do the follow-up if you want to, everything. I'm not selling them on the backend because that's not my intention to do
Yeah.
it. I want to make it fulfilled. And that's how many of my students get into the masterclass and start to get a lot of interaction with the Dream 100.
Awesome. Awesome. So where can they go ahead and find this master class if this is something that they're interested in?
Yeah, for getting into the masterclass, you just need to go for the dream100masterclass.com. It's the dream100masterclass.com, and we can see you over there.
Awesome. And if they wanted to follow you on social media, what is your handle and how can they find you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Facebook. You can search RJ Ahmed. Probably you're gonna see me. I have this sort of face out there. You can see me out there and find me out over there as well. Same goes for Instagram. It's RJ Ahmed, and yeah, I can be able to connect with you.
Awesome. Awesome. RJ is a great resource, somebody that's really friendly, one that is always taking time to, give the insights, the little small things that make all the difference. When you're working in this industry, people can tell you, go ahead and make a list, reach out to them, but it's how do you reach out to them?
Yeah,
What do you specifically say? And that is what RJ really can teach you and teach us so well that I've actually implemented into my own podcast and my own show. And in the result is why he's on here sharing these strategies with people that are part of the Conversion Icon Nation, because this is really what it takes, right? It takes a consistent effort. It takes willingness to put yourself out there, and it takes time and effort to be able to focus on what you need to do and how you have to do it. And I'm really impressed with the progress that you're having and how you teach your students exactly how to do it step by step. So if you're looking to learn more about how to get on more interviews, how to interview people better, and how to build a massive list, RJ's your guy. So go ahead and get his master class. And for you guys that are part of the Conversion Icon VIP group, we're going to have some very special resources and other material. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel and be part of the VIP group to get additional information and trainings that we're going to have on interviewing and building out your podcast. So thanks again for coming on Conversion Icons. It was a pleasure having you, RJ. Look forward to having you back. Once again, this is Alan Kotler with Conversion Icons. See you on the next interview.